or Golda Mary from Section A from the Department of English. Today I am going to deal with the topic teaching of reading. First, I have given the quote said by Francis Bacon about reading. He said, "Reading make a full man, writing an exact man." Then we move on to aims and objectives of teaching reading. It enables the students to pronounce the word correctly, and it also enables the students to understand the meaning of new words and phrases, and it also helps to interpret sentence into paragraph, and it develops the eye span of the student. Then another aim of the teaching of reading is to use ideas gained through reading and to read with clear explanation and pronunciation, and it gives pleasure in reading. Then we move on to different methods of teaching reading to the beginners. There are two methods, letter method and non-letter method. In letter method, under the letter method we have three methods: alphabetical method, phonic method and phonetic method. Under the non-letter method we have four methods: word method, the phrase method, sentence method and story method. Then we move on to types of reading. There are four types of reading. The first one is reading aloud, the second one is silent reading, the third one is intensive reading, and the fourth one is extensive reading. Reading aloud. In reading loud reading provides practice in good speech habits among the children, and reading aloud gives this opportunity to the teachers to find out whether the children are able to read with correct pronunciation, stress and intonation. The loud reading is a base and fundamental for silent reading in later age. And we move on to silent reading. Silent reading is an important type of reading. A child can concentrate his attention on the meaning only when he does not read aloud. That is why silent reading is important aspect of reading. Then we move on to the difference between intensive reading and extensive reading. In intensive reading, the students study the detailed study of the passage. But for extensive reading, it is concerned with the overall summary or idea of the passage. In extensive reading, also known as critical reading, and the extensive reading also called as reading for information. In extensive reading, the students know the meaning of the words. But in extensive reading, no need to go for word by word meaning. Intensive reading mostly used for the students in preparing for the examination. The extensive reading, for example, for extensive reading are supplementary reader, journals, magazines and newspaper. Intensive reading know about the central ideas or key statements in the passage, but extensive reading it bothered about the overall idea contained in the passage. Then another intensive reading. In intensive reading, the students get the details, definitions and concepts. But in the extensive reading, students get the story element and for pleasure. In intensive reading, pay attention to the punctuation mark, but in extensive reading, we read it for whole, no specific attention to punctuation mark. In intensive reading, the matter for intensive reading is limited, but the matter for extensive reading is unlimited. Questions are asked from the middle part in intensive reading, but in extensive reading, there is no disturbance while reading. Then questions are asked to test the understanding of the students at the end. Questions are asked to test the understanding of the students in intensive reading, but the questions are asked at the end in extensive reading. Then we move on to causes of retardation while reading. There are many causes of retardation while reading. The first major one is minor physical deformity pose hinder to children's reading style. It is the physical deformity to the children, so that it causes a retardation. Then another one is lack of model reading practice is also the main reason. And then the wrongly pronouncing words and not giving importance to stress, pass and intonation. And lack of interest also leads to the causes of retardation. And shyness, fear and incubation are also the reason. And wrong practice and the shorter eye span leads to poor reading. Thank you.